In most parts of the world, farming means planting seeds in warm soil, waiting for rain, and harvesting under the sun. But in some corners of the planet, farmers face a reality where the ground is frozen for most of the year. Temperatures plunge well below freezing, and snow blankets the land for months on end. Yet, somehow, people still manage to grow food in these icy landscapes. From the windswept tundras of Alaska to the frost-bitten fields of Siberia, and from the snowy plateaus of northern Canada to the mountainous regions of the Himalayas, this is the story of how human ingenuity has turned frozen lands into sources of life. This is farming in frozen regions, and it's unlike anything you've ever imagined. Farming in frozen areas is no small feat. The soil is often locked in permafrost, meaning it stays frozen all year round. Even during short summers, the thawed top layer may only be a few centimeters deep, making it hard for plants to root. The growing season can be as short as 30 to 60 days, compared to 150 to 200 days in temperate climates. Temperatures can swing wildly, with frost returning suddenly and destroying crops overnight. Add to that strong winds, limited daylight in winter, and heavy snow cover, and it's clear why farming here is a fight against nature. But people who live in these regions have adapted over centuries. Instead of giving up, they've developed unique farming systems that can coax vegetables, grains, and even fruits from the most unlikely conditions. In the Arctic and subarctic, indigenous peoples have long understood the land and its limits. Farming wasn't always about fields of crops. It was about making the most of every resource. Communities relied on hardy plants like wild berries, which could survive in cold climates. They foraged for cranberries, cloudberries, and crowberries, which could be preserved for winter. Small root vegetables like turnips and radishes were grown in protected spots where snow melted earlier in spring. Some used natural microclimates, south-facing slopes or riverbanks, where temperatures were slightly warmer. Others built simple wooden or stone enclosures to shield plants from wind and trap a little extra heat. In Siberia, farmers learned to plant cold-tolerant barley and rye, which could grow quickly before frost returned. Today, technology has transformed farming in frozen regions. Greenhouses, sometimes called growing domes, allow crops to grow even in the middle of winter. In places like northern Alaska, communities use insulated greenhouses with double or triple walls, powered by heaters or even waste heat from nearby buildings. These greenhouses capture and store warmth during the brief summer, then extend the growing season by several months. Some use hydroponics, growing plants in nutrient-rich water instead of soil, to avoid the challenges of frozen ground. In Iceland, farmers use geothermal energy to heat greenhouses, producing fresh tomatoes, cucumbers, and peppers year-round, despite icy temperatures outside. In remote Arctic towns, solar-powered LED lights mimic summer sunshine during the dark winter, ensuring plants keep growing even when the sun disappears for months. Researchers and farmers are, constantly finding new ways to make frozen farming more efficient. In Siberia and northern Canada, permafrost farming projects experiment with raised beds filled with imported soil so that roots stay above the frozen layer. Some farmers use snow fences to control snowmelt and create moisture-rich fields in early summer. Others are combining aquaponics, that's raising fish in tanks, with greenhouse farming, using fish waste as fertilizer for plants. Urban farms in the Arctic are growing food in repurposed shipping containers fitted with LED lights and climate controls, producing lettuce, herbs, and berries right in the middle of winter. These innovations mean communities no longer have to rely entirely on expensive imported food. You might be surprised by what can grow in these climates. Hardy greens like kale, spinach, and Swiss chard thrive in cooler conditions. Root crops like carrots, beets, and potatoes can grow quickly in the short Arctic summer. Cold-tolerant grains like rye, barley, and oats have been cultivated successfully in Alaska and northern Russia. In greenhouses, the variety expands dramatically. Tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, strawberries, and even exotic herbs can be produced in quantities that feed entire communities. Some farmers even experiment with dwarf fruit trees, growing apples and cherries inside climate-controlled domes. For many frozen communities, farming isn't just about food, it's about survival, independence, and cultural connection. Importing fresh produce to remote areas can be extremely expensive, with prices sometimes 5 to 10 times higher than in cities. Local farming reduces reliance on outside supply chains, especially important during harsh winters when transportation can be cut off for weeks. It also provides fresher, healthier food and keeps cultural food traditions alive. With climate change altering weather patterns, farming in frozen regions faces both new challenges and opportunities. Warmer temperatures may extend growing seasons, but they can also damage fragile Arctic ecosystems. Scientists are working to balance sustainable farming with environmental preservation, using renewable energy, minimal soil disturbance, and closed-loop systems. If done right, frozen farming could serve as a model for growing food in other extreme environments, even on other planets. Farming in frozen regions is a testament to human resilience. It's about more than crops. It's about determination, creativity, and the will to thrive where nature says it's impossible. From ancient foraging traditions to futuristic greenhouses, these farmers are proving that even in the coldest corners of the earth, life finds a way. The next time you enjoy a fresh tomato in the middle of winter, think of the people who made it possible. In the most frozen lands on earth,